'Cause yeah, I can be you, you can be me, we can be somebody else. I'm sick of my, sick of my. I'm sick of my, sick of my. I'm sick of my, sick of my. How short is our timeline? Can't help but be scared. Oh, pendulum rule me, all knowing and fair. I'm sensitive to the situations weighing on our minds, but I admit I adore this life. It's not mine to know. Gotta go with the flow. There's no right way to go. There's no way to solve a puzzle. No way to solve a puzzle. So when all the bad times are pouring in, my shell will get thicker and pull within. So when the sun's out, I'll be willing and able to absorb it. Soak up the light while I'm alive, while I'm alive. I gotta go with the flow. No way to solve the puzzle.
Whether it's your passion for grisly crime dramas,
そばに来て崩れゆく抑制僕を怖がらないで
Check it, yeah. Time ain't a human right. We could go right now, tomorrow, or tonight. I try to treat humans right, but they take my kindness for weakness and end up exiting my life. It's like my dreams got caught, my wishes were granted, but normalcy's important to me. Back then I didn't understand it. She thought she had the advantage. I would've thought that she planned it, but I've seen enough game footage to know it's all how you play it. It's like I know the right words, but I can never just say it. Cat got my tongue for good, and now my brain is abandoned. I'm feeling panic. Knees weak and I can't stand it. Now I know just what you meant when you said my carriage is cannon. Blast me out of a cannon, shoot me up like a cannon, then switch the lens and try to pretend for a second you understand me. I'm just knocking to the beat, twisting dope with my team. It's like therapy to me. And I hope you got your own too. Shit get tragic when you sack and kick it with the wrong crew. True. Yeah. Had me thinking all of my problems started with me and not you. You had me mesmerized, brainwashed, lost and confused. What do I do? Start off on my own path, factory reset my mind. Fuck the good and the bad. What do I do? Now I just can't help but laugh. Revenge is the best success. Real shit, running back. Yeah. What? Get down. Such balls. Yeah. Yeah.
Hulu Animayhem brings animation's biggest names together in one epic, star-studded place.
Interesting.
Today's the day that I break from these chains in the world, I know. But I keep on moving, I want something new, cause there's more to go. Trying to be selfish like it's not a bad thing, I take control. Cause today's a new day and I'm trying to feel like a miracle. Give me new life, give me new highs. Baby, I'm fine now, it's my time. Give me new life, give me new highs. Baby, I'm fine now, it's my time. Give me new life, give me new highs. Baby, I'm now fine. Give me new life, give me new highs. Baby, I'm fine now, it's my time. I wanna breathe again. I wanna find my heaven. I wanna breathe again. I wanna find my heaven. No one can tell me and no one can change me. I'm here to stay. Cause I'll fight my own fight, I'll make something happen. It's my own way. Take me or leave me, I'm here through whatever. I'll have my day. Cause no one can tell me and no one can change me. Now hear me say, give me new life, give me new highs. Baby, I'm fine now, it's my time. Give me new life, give me new highs. Baby, I'm fine now, it's my time. Give me new life, give me new highs. Baby, I'm now fine. Give me new life, give me new highs. Baby, I'm fine now, it's my time. I wanna breathe again. I wanna find my head. Give me new life, give me new highs. Baby, I'm fine now, it's my time. Give me new life, give me new highs. Baby, I'm fine now, it's my time. Give me new life, give me new highs. Baby, I'm now fine. Give me new life, give me new highs. Baby, I'm fine now, it's my time. I wanna breathe again. I wanna find my head back. I wanna breathe again. I wanna find my head back.
Hey everyone! What's up, y'all? Thanks for the likes, guys. Hi. Hello. What am I pointing at? Am I pointing at something? Hello. Hi. I used to eat gummy worms in the shower while listening to static noises, and my girl left me. Oh no. Well, I hope you find a girl that's okay with you eating gummy worms in the shower and listening to static noise, because I don't see anything inherently wrong with that. I was just holding my chest. Thanks, Tim. That is crazy, man. Doo. Don't look at you like that? Like what? I didn't do nothing. Gumdrops? Can you play Feels by Labyrinth? It's your new favorite song? Maybe. Let me look it up. Oh wait. Maybe I have heard this. Or maybe something else by him? Hello, Dreamy. How are you?
I got touched by God and it fucked me up like an electrical current coursing through my veins. Lightning came and hit me again. Now
Is it you? Is what me? Hold on, I'm changing my chat to look different on my other streams.
Got me lost in emotion. Now you got me intoxicated.
Weaver! Thank you so much for subscribing. Wow. It's been a whole other month already.
Weaverbird _ just subscribed. Wow, it's been.
What's today look like?
Many months.
64 fucking months! Holy shit, that's a long time. Oh my god. Thank you. So today's plan is we are going to get into some fox ears and maybe we'll do a wig. I don't know, I'm gonna kind of feel out whether or not I want to do my actual hair or a wig for this. And then, oh my god, thank you for the roses! Jitaron, thank you. That position looks so painful, you must be really flexible. This is actually really comfortable for me, so I guess so. Yeah, get into cosplay. We're gonna stream pretty much all day today because tomorrow I am going on a little mini vacation, kind of. Not really. It's just like a day thing. Like I'm staying at a hotel. But yeah, so we're gonna be streaming most of the day today, / making content, editing, that kind of thing. Yeah, dude. Like honestly, like I be sitting like this, like like it's the way I like to sit weird. I cannot for the life of me like sit like this for more than like 20 minutes. Perching, yeah. Holy chesticles, Batman. Wait, what? I like this song. Thanks for recommending it. It's not natural, man. It's just not natural. Oh wow wow, oh wow wow. What are you guys up to today? How's everyone doing? It's Wednesday, right? How's your Wednesday going, guys? You've been a bother for a long time. Fake news, Weaver. You're a delight, okay? An absolute delight. Work. Yes. Is that what you're up to, Dreamy? Do you have lower back dimples? I don't think I do. Sorry, we're not doing any collab lives right at the moment. Hi, Jerome. Yeah, I feel that, Dreamy. Cost of living going up. Gotta get that financial security manifested. Hold on, I'm gonna put on something a little less chill for music. This is a little bit sleepy music. Okay, wait, I'm gonna listen to this podcast for a second, actually.
Welcome to Hacking Your ADHD. I'm your host, William Kerr.
No, we'll do this. We'll do music for a bit. We might do a podcast later. New Mitski. I'm trying to figure out where I put this chat. Don't like the background on it. Am I cold? A little bit. It's a little chilly. It's about fall time. Let me see. You got this, Weaver. You'll just ignore it like an adult. Do it before it piles up. I have to take my trash out too, honestly. Glad to hear you're doing good, Jerome. Building an empire is not for the faint of heart. True. Okay, alright. This should be better. Watch. Is this game like Age of Empires? No. This game is more of like a grindy kind of like MMO. RuneScape. Age of Empires is quite different. Favorite book? Ooh. You take the trash out of me, Dreamy. You're so sweet. My favorite book is probably... I really liked The Host by Stephanie Meyer. I really like also, ooh, New Oliver Tree. I also really like, Fantastic Fungi. It's like a picture book about mushrooms. What about you guys? What's your guys' favorite book if you have one? I do not have a giant teddy bear. Oh no, my doggo. He bork.
I got fair weather friends in my G-class Benz. Some stay, some go, some days it depends. I ain't seen you since way back then when we both crossed paths at the six-way intersection.
Alright, give me 1 second, guys.
This is not the same thing. You are not like me. We are not the same league. Tuesday night I'm eating dinner with porn stars. Michelin restaurants, 3 stars, 4 stars. Look at my report card, baby. I'm a workhorse. You ain't shit. I'm that friend who will fuck your bitch, but don't dip before I roll the split. Tight like that pussy got gorilla grip. I got fair weather friends in my G-class Benz. Some stay, some go, some days it depends. I ain't seen you since way back then when we both crossed paths at the six-way intersection.
Fill your home with an abundance of fall essentials from Hobby Lobby, now at 40% off. Our wide selection of decor can help you curate a fresh autumn look for when chilly days call for cozy nights inside. You'll discover plush pillows and throws, harvest time table accents, plenty of pumpkins, and so much more. If you're ready to refresh your space for fall, shop in store or at hobbylobby.com today.
Hey y'all, this is Ronte, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A honey pepper pimento chicken sandwich is the pimento cheese. I was like, go cheese, go pimento, go honey, go get it.
Hi, this is Chantrice, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A honey pepper pimento chicken sandwich is the mild spiciness of the pickled jalapenos. No, it's the crispy chicken. Actually, I can't decide. It's the entire sandwich.
Order the honey pepper pimento chicken sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Available for a limited time. Real Chick-fil-A guests paid for their testimonials.
That's the sound of
Made you guys listen to an ad.
up on your phone. Memory after memory.
I don't have Spotify Premium. Fuck. Current favorite is The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. Interesting. You don't have a favorite book? Get her 2 giant teddy bears? Oh my god, dude, I would love that. What games do I play? I play RuneScape, League of Legends, Apex. I play a bunch of games. Third girl out of 29 who has a favorite book. Nice. Oh, thanks for the cap, Nick. So, yeah, I think The Host is just my favorite book because I was really into Twilight growing up. But Stephanie Meyer, the author of Twilight, wrote another book called The Host, and that one was more about like kind of like aliens, like apocalypse kind of vibes. And I read it. That was one of the books that I just got like entranced in, and I read it over and over and over again. Nice. Yeah, if you guys don't have favorite books, do you have favorite games? All the ads. You get double added. You get the Twitch ads and you get the Spotify ads. Uncharted, nice. Thank you, Nick. Sounds good, Dreamy. Harry Potter, nice. Hey guys, welcome in. We're chopping some maple trees right now. I'm curious why. Maybe if I delete it. Atomic Beatbox. Nice name. And the same color now, it's faded like red, grayish, purple. Nice. I'm actually in the middle of like lightening it, so this is like kind of a transition color after I toned it and added a little bit purple to like balance the orange. I'm doing well, M2. How are you? Hi, Will Smith. Is that the Will Smith? There we go. The chat is less blocky now. Where did I go? Okay. Catfish Will Smith, rude. Awesome sauce. Awesome sauce to hear you're doing good too. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Ah, fuck, man. I would say it has to be the, you know, I would say honestly, if God were to have spawned in a chicken, he would have probably done it from the egg, right? Right? But then who would have warmed the egg? Right, so it has to be the chicken, because someone needs to warm the egg. God, using console commands like in Minecraft. The rooster. See, we all know though a polite rooster always lets the chicken come first. Okay, I'm sorry, I'll stop. Okay, alright, so I'm gonna grab the fox ears, and you guys let me know if you'd rather see me do the look today with like my natural hair or with the orange wig. Hello, Kagato. Someone asked me what comes first, what came first, the chicken or the egg? And then someone said the rooster. I was like, everyone knows that a polite rooster lets the chicken come first. And I laughed because I'm hilarious. Hi, Jake. You guys know I'm funny. You know I'm funny. It's okay. You can laugh. It was good to see you, Weaver. I hope you have a great day at work. Oh, Jake, thank you for the little crown. Thank you. Thank you for the follow. Wait a minute. Wait, what? What are you talking about, Andy? Boy or girl? Remind me if Bruce Jenner is transitioning coach. Wait, what? I'm really relieved you aren't doing that AI thing. What AI thing? It's always great to see you too, Jake. Are you busy fighting stuff, Karato? Peace Barbie by B-Box. 360. Did you see it? I did a whole 360. It was just really fast. Okay, so these are the ears that I'm going to be wearing today. And I'm wondering if it looks okay with the natural. If that looks good. Or if I should wear, wherever it went. I have an orange wig. Okay, so I have the long orange wig, and then I have the short orange wig. So natural or long or short wig? Thanks for the follow, Megan Muffins. Thank you. My natural's at such an in-between stage. It's so many colors right now. Aw, thank you for the hand heart, Jake. Thank you. Right. Hi, Pinky. Hi, Kellogg. Short. So we got 1 vote for natural and 2 votes for the short wig. The long might match better. Natural. Cool. Okay, we'll do makeup first then, and then we'll decide on the wig since we got a couple of votes for natural. Might do a poll in chat or something. Okay, 1 second. I have to fix my chat bot again. It's a little weird. I'm gonna try the condensed version and see how I like that. I might also try the Minecraft skin. Okay, here. Let's try this. For real, boy or girl? Dude, why does it matter so much to you? It is Kagato, I agree. Guys, when you see someone live streaming on the internet, is it pertinent information for you to know what gender they are? Like, do you need to know? A self-wedgie would go crazy for some gifts right now, bro. You're gonna have to pay me, like, big buko bucks. Just, like, go get a custom video of someone, like, doing that, you know? Like, bruh? Why are you trying to get my panties in the twist? What the fuck?
When you buy Kroger brand products, you feel...
No. Everything is an advertisement, guys. Okay. Bro, I was like, I'm sorry, I'm waiting for the ad to be done. It's almost done, but then they give us another one for Chick-fil-A. Ayoyo. Do I really want Spotify Premium? Should I pay for it? Should I pay for the premium, guys? Oh, they got a honey pepper pimento chicken sandwich. That looks good.
For their testimonials.
Alright, we're back to the music. Hi, Mocap. How are you, love? She isn't live? What do you mean, Vinny Linguini Lamborghini? I am live. Don't do it. Okay, Kellogg. At least till next year. Yeah. I need to save some money. I don't want to pay for Spotify right now. Oof, yeah, I bet Kagato. Yeah, that's what I figured, Kagato and Pinky. Like, if you're not gonna meet the person, like, or even if you do meet the person, I don't know. I don't see why it matters so much, like, what genitals they have. Hi, Quentin. Hi, Uncle Him Sandwich. Can I meow? I can. I am a fox, though. Ricochet. For all intents and purposes, I don't actually exist. That's what gender I am. I don't exist. Alright, let's get this makeup going. I gotta actually wet this towel, clean my brushes and my face a little bit. Give me one sec. Oh yeah, I have this J. I'm gonna smoke this, actually. Alright, so TikTok. I'm gonna get off TikTok for a second, do some smokies, and then I will be back after I charge my phone a little bit, and then we'll do my makeup on here too. But I'm also live on Twitch, Kick, and YouTube if you want to hang out. Okay, I'll be back. Androgynous AI. Gender non-conforming AI. Can I change the width? Yeah, I can. Fuck yeah. I am wondering though why it's hold on. Can I also crop it? Just the bottom. Like 20. 100? No. 75. Close. There you go. I fixed it. Honestly, sometimes with how raunchy TikTok live chat can be, sometimes I want to do the AI thing. Because I just don't want to... Yeah. Deal with bullshit. So when they say like, what gender are you? Are you a boy or a girl? Are you Caitlyn Jenner's transitioning coach? I can just be like, sorry, does not compute. And some like weird shit that'll like trigger them, you know? They'll be like even more mad. They'll be like, ah! The transgender robots are taking over! Oh man, people are just like literally though, like more thirsty, more wild, and more like grumpy than like any other live chat I've seen. TikTok is wild. Okay, alright, give me one sec. yeah, I need to be charging my phone right now. Let me do that. Pinky, I love you. He is not doing better. His appointment went well, and we need to schedule the next appointment, which is going to be his x-ray, and then the appointment after that will be his surgery. So he's actually like in quite a bit of pain, like on and off, and when he's been walking, there's been this like clicking noise. So yeah, the vet said, yeah, that's definitely like causing him a lot of pain, and we definitely want to, yeah, like get that taken care of. So the next appointment is gonna cost 300 and let me check. $391 for his like x-ray and everything, which I really love that this vet has actually been more affordable than most of the vets I have brought him to. The exam fee was only $67, so that's not like insane. But yeah, so yeah, that next x-ray is $391, so we're gonna schedule that probably for next week. And then after that, we will be doing the surgery, which the write-up for this vet is $45.85, roughly, for the surgery. And luckily, I should be able to scratch pay that, so I should be able to like get it done and then be able to make monthly payments after the fact. So hopefully everything goes well with that. Exactly, Kagato. That's like the reason we put it off so bad. We started like having these issues in late spring, but the radiology they wanted to get done, like the x-ray at the other vet, was $1,200, and they didn't take scratch pay or like that kind of financing. But yeah, so this vet is a lot more affordable than most vets I've been to. So I really like them. They were really sweet. And yeah, they take the financing program that I was gonna look into, so. Yeah, Kagato. So I'm very grateful right now. It's definitely gonna be a grind getting the rest of it taken care of, but very fortunate that the vet that I'm taking him to right now is a lot more reasonable. So he's not necessarily doing better yet. He's on some pain meds right now, but he's on track. He's on track to doing better. It's okay, Chilios. Yeah, you know, it happens. My dog, he's like 8 years old now. And like we were like kind of hypothesizing like where, you know, it might have like began, because we have a puppy that kind of like bites his ankles sometimes, and we make him stop that. But so we like figured it's like a bunch of things that combined. Like when it first started happening, he was having
Chick-fil-A honey pepper pimento
fuck
chicken.
your advertisement. He was having paraphimosis, which you guys can look up what that is. I don't want to describe it, but he was having really bad digestive issues, and then just like sitting on his legs funny. And then at the old place, like he was like going down the stairs, and he like going up and down the stairs, it happened a couple times, he would just like, his legs would just like give out and he would just like fall. So that's when we took him to the other place that was like more expensive, and it was just like, yeah, I was like, damn, I really want to figure out what's wrong with him, but if they don't take scratch pay, then like I couldn't afford $1,200 like right off the bat, and I think most people can't. You're very fortunate if you can just drop $1,200 for your pet, like without notice. Yeah, so I'm very fortunate that I have the community that I do have and the job that I do have, so I can work from home, make sure he's taken care of, and get everything aligned. Exactly, Kagato. Like, literally, yeah, it's like if I work really, really hard and do some really wild stuff, like for the masses, I could maybe make that in a week. Maybe. If I work really hard. But it's like, most people do not have the ability to do that. So yeah, I honestly felt really bad about the idea of making a GoFundMe because I am so fortunate and I know other people like need the help also. So I was like feeling really shameful about it, but then my friend was like, yeah, you should just do it, and he helped me write it up. And it's really kind of him because I have a really hard time like asking for help. And I already feel so grateful for like all the help that I already get. So I was like, yeah, but that GoFundMe is there and it will stay up until like the surgery is paid off. Just like if there's like, besides you guys like subscribing or supporting me anywhere else you do, if you want to like help Aesop directly, then that money all goes directly to Aesop's recovery. Had a German Shepherd with similar hip issues. No, Chelios, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was talking with my friend about how a lot of big dogs do have like hip problems like later on in life. So what's happening with him though? It's like it's a cruciate. So it's like the leg, when he's like moving his legs, it like clicks, and it's like both back legs, and it's like something got out of place. So the joint that normally would go like your elbow would go like normally like that, it's yeah, it's like out of place, and it's like making this like clicking thing in like the joint area. So yeah, very painful. And so like because of that, they're seeing that the muscle is like atrophying because that is happening. But yeah, really grateful we at least like have the technology to like figure these things out. Even if it's expensive, like hopefully we can make it more affordable like down the line, but I'm grateful the technology's there.
I wonder why nothing catches my eye quite like the sight of a girl with a powerful machine between her legs.
What did she say? No worries, always take care of yourself first, Kagato. I appreciate you so much. Right. Yeah, I am very grateful that when I do work, I do get paid out quite fast. Well, other than Twitch does take quite a bit to pay me, but like other sites do pay out quite a bit faster. What do you mean, Pinky? Aw, yeah, Pinky, send me it whenever you wanna. Is it the same song you showed me before, or is it a different one? Oh no. That's unfortunate. Nice, Pinky. Yeah, and I always like want other people to ask for help if they need it, so I know I should. I know I should. and it has helped. It definitely like covered the first visit, and it's gonna cover a good portion of the next one also. And I'll be posting the paperwork, like updating it soon. I'm super excited though for this to be taken care of, and then it's like a huge thing off my chest, big weight off my shoulders, because then he's just like recovering, and it's like not, yeah, hopefully there's no complications or anything, and then I can just focus on other things. I saw this dude had a GoFundMe for like $100,000 or something, and he had like 100 cats. I'm like, bro, why do you have 100 cats? And I was like, god damn. And there are some interesting GoFundMes out there, for sure. Not sure, Kagato. Let me check. Oh yeah, wait, I think I remember. Yep, okay. Alright, yeah, so I'm working on a Canva graphic with all of my pricing, and I will get that to you, Kagato. Yeah, Chelios, I definitely heard some stuff. And it's like, I was looking at it with my friend, and we were like, it would make sense if they had a sort feature for people who like have a new GoFundMe or who haven't like made much towards their goal. But the only like filtering they have on their website is like people who are close to the goal and like some other ones. But yeah, I think it could be a lot more helpful for discovery for people who post on the website if they like had different sorting features. Also the fees, you know, like they do make money. So, but I didn't really know another option, so I just picked what I knew. Right. Cowlock. No, that's fucking lame. No worries, get some sleep, Kagata. Take care of yourself. I'll see you soon. I don't think you can have 100 cats. I mean, he lived in like Morocco or something. Which, speaking of, I hope he's okay. Because, like, that shit just happened in Morocco. But I don't know, man. That's what he said. He said he needed the money to take care of his cats. He said he was, he was, like, working, like, side gigs to take care of his cats or something. That's what he said. He's like just strictly doing side hustles, taking care of his 100 cats. He's a cat dad side quester, okay? Alright, now that we're not on TikTok, we're gonna smoky. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'll try and find the GoFundMe and show it to you. Also, like, I'm wondering why the restream shot is like, the new stuff is at the top. It's interesting. What the fuck? Like, really superstitious? RuneScape's glitching, the rift's not showing up.
The lights are out. It's time to sleep.
No. It's not time to sleep.
Welcome to the Huberman Lab Guest Series, where I and an expert guest discuss science and science-based tools for everyday life. I'm Andrew Huberman, and I'm a professor of neurobiology and ophthalmology at Stanford School of Medicine. Today marks the third episode in our 4-episode series about mental health with Dr. Paul Conti. Today's episode deals with the topic of healthy relationships, how to define what a healthy relationship is, and how to achieve healthy relationships of all kinds, including romantic relationships, interpersonal relationships at work, friendships with family, and of course, with oneself. This episode builds on the framework of the psychology of self and mental health that was established in the first and second episodes of this series. However, even if you didn't listen to the first or second episode in this series, today's episode will still contain a lot of information and protocols that you will find valuable for improving your relationships. That said, if you have the opportunity to listen to the first and second episodes in this series, I think you'll find those to be tremendously beneficial at any point. During today's episode, Dr. Conti discusses what makes for a successful relationship of any kind, as well as tools to improve those relationships. He discusses various types of bonds, including healthy bonds and trauma bonds, not just in the context of romantic relationship, but in the context of all types of relationships. We also discuss different challenges that people face in relationships, including abusive relationships. And we discuss the role of power dynamics, anxiety, and boundaries in relationships, both from the perspective of unhealthy relationships, but more importantly, from the understanding and protocols to cultivate healthy relationships. While there is an abundance of opinions and information out there on the internet these days about relationships, both healthy and unhealthy, today's discussion approaches the topic of relationships through an entirely different lens, which is the lens of the self in terms of one's conscious and subconscious mind, and how multiple
Yes, they do.
subconscious minds through different...
I think unhealthy ones have been normalized historically. Like, I know when I was struggling in a relationship, I kind of tried to reach out to friends I had at the time. And one of them had said, oh, you know, like, we all have issues. Like, we're all, like, you know, I think at the time they were going through a really, like, toxic cycle in their own relationship. But I do not think that we should, like, normalize, like, toxic relationships or abuse or anything like that. Definitely doesn't have to be like that. But yeah, I've definitely seen a lot of very unhealthy relationships. I've also been in a lot of very unhealthy relationships. I think that correlates because we kind of learn to act how we see other people act to an extent. So, yeah.
Different individuals interact with one
This is
another
gonna be a good
in
one, I
ways
think.
that we can see and ways that we can't see, and all of that framed within the actionable steps that any of us can take to improve our relationship to ourselves and to others. Before we begin, I'd like to emphasize that this podcast is separate from my teaching and research roles at Stanford. It is, however,
Yeah,
part of my
Kellogg.
desire and effort
A lot of
to bring
countries do
zero-cost
mistreat
to
their
consumer
animals, and some
information
people in
about
America
science
mistreat their
and
animals
science-related
too,
tools
but
to the general public.
yeah, we should.
In keeping with that
we should
theme,
treat
I'd like to
animals
thank the
with
sponsors
respect.
of today's podcast. Our first sponsor is BetterHelp. BetterHelp offers professional therapy with a licensed therapist
Okay, we're gonna
carried
skip
out
through the
all
sponsors.
online. Dr. Conti, welcome back.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Have you guys heard Paul Conti speak before? I've heard a couple podcasts with him now, and I really like the things he has to say.
Today we're going to discuss relationships, and that will often focus on romantic relationships, but also relationships between friends, between family members, and inevitably the relationship to self, which is what we really focused on in episodes 1 and 2 of this series. Episode 1 being all the things that go into a healthy self and how to understand what is unhealthy and healthy in all of us.
There's,
and
like,
make
weed in the filter.
adjustments to the unhealthy aspects of our unconscious and conscious through really specific, proactive behaviors and patterns of thought. So really a roadmap to these ideals that we call mental health and understanding of the self. Today we want to talk about relationships from the perspective of course, how people relate, but I have a feeling it's going to have something to do
Thanks,
with,
Pinky.
or
I'm glad
perhaps
you think so.
almost everything to do with our relationship to understanding ourselves first.
Yes.
So just to make sure that we're all on the same page, regardless of whether or not people have seen episodes 1 and 2, and certainly people do not need to have seen or listened to episodes 1 and 2 of this series in order to understand today's discussion. Could you please tell us what is a healthy person, and how can we ask ourselves the sorts of questions that allow us to determine whether or not we are healthy, and where to look in terms of making adjustments if we want to be healthier than we already are, which I have to believe almost everybody, if not everybody, certainly wants to be the healthiest and best expression of themselves so that they can do the most for themselves and for others in the world.
So the linchpin of it all, right, is the agency and gratitude as verbs, right? That's the top of the mountain, right? There's a lot of climbing we do to get to the top of the mountain. Once we're over the top of the mountain, then things are in a better place. And even though they're two words, right? Agency is, of course, a word, gratitude is a word, but it doesn't mean that they're separate concepts. approaching the world through the lens of agency and gratitude, thought of as one thing because they come together and they come together as verbs. Like that's what we're aiming for, right? Because that's the thing that we can work towards, right? If you think about what comes underneath of that, right? It takes us back to the 2 pillars and the 10 cupboards, right? And if we're looking in there enough, we're minding like what is in my unconscious mind I might not be aware of. Let me generate some curiosity about my defense mechanisms and my character structure and think about what's salient inside of me. Like if we're doing all of that, then what we're doing, we're building empowerment, we're building humility, and then ultimately the expression of all of that is the agency and gratitude. And it's something that we can't have enough of. Like I say, what's the best amount of that? The most that's possible, right? Because we're going to engage in the world in the healthiest way. Because agency and gratitude, it doesn't mean like we're happy about everything, right? If there's something negative and we can change that, then we don't feel happy about that. The sense of gratitude in me makes me more likely to feel that I can change that, right? Or to take the chance of trying to change that. And then the agency part of that concept can come more to the fore and I can make the change. So it's not about bliss, right? It's not about forgiving self and others for all sorts of things and not working to make better. It's about being in the world and being as aware as I can possibly be, including being aware that there are things I'm not aware of, right? So sort of having a healthy respect and an orientation to the world that values truth and values understanding and exploration. If we do all of that, then we reach the top of the mountain through the agency and gratitude. And then what builds upon that, or what comes from that, is the peace, the contentment, the delight, the generative drive being strengthened. Like that all comes together. And then the aggressive, or we say aggressive because that's the traditional term, but the aggressive or the assertive, right? The assertiveness or assertion drive, however, whatever word we want to put to that, that drive exists in us in a way that subserves the generative drive. The same thing with the pleasure drive in us. It exists in us, but it's subserving the generative drive. And then all those good things come together, and they come together to help us be as healthy as we can and to stay healthy, right? Including when tribulation or difficulties come our way, so that we stay as best we can in the agency and gratitude as verbs. And again, there's nothing theoretical about this. Like it's a way to live. And there are a lot of people who live some of their lives or parts of their lives through that, right? And we can aspire to it and we can work towards it. And if we're the best that we can be, then we're going to be in our relationships the best we can be. Like think about it, like you and I have a relationship. We know each other. We're working together. If I can bring my best self to you, to thinking about you, to understanding you, if I can bring the agency and the gratitude, then I'm going to do right by you. I'm going to mentalize this idea of thinking about what's going on inside of you. Like I'm going to bring the best of all of that. And then because we have a relationship, there's also an us. Like there's a me, there's a you, there's something that happens between us. That's the relationship. That's the us. And I will also bring my best self to that thing that is no longer just me or just you, but that is an us. And that applies to all relationships, right? You can apply that to seeking health in every single relationship in our lives.
What you're saying really speaks to the importance of people taking a real look at themselves, which is not necessarily an inventory of self in the typical sense that we're used to hearing it, but rather through this lens or map of the self that was spelled out in episodes 1 and 2. And again, for those that are just joining the series now, the map, as we're referring to it, is available as a downloadable PDF in the show note captions. If people want to get that, it's completely zero cost. You can just go there and access it or just view it on a screen, print it out, whatever you like. You certainly don't need to do that because here again, we're talking about the core elements of that map, which, if I understand correctly, arrive eventually at a set of verb states that we're calling agency and gratitude. Those are not separate, as you pointed out. They work together.
You described it as on top of the geyser, right? And I really like that. Like there's a lot of things going on, but then it all uplifts to something, right? And if we're doing it in the right way, in the diligent way, then it is like a geyser. And what it's lifting up on top of it is the agency and gratitude. I love you put those words to it, and I think it captures it really profoundly.
Well, the stuff that geysers up perhaps deserves a bit of our attention, just for a few moments. You described these two pillars that I described as geysering up into agency and gratitude in the best circumstances. But the best circumstances, we want to remind ourselves and everybody, are attainable by looking at what's in those pillars. Those two pillars are the structure of self, so really understanding something about the structure of self. So that includes some understanding of the unconscious mind, some understanding of the conscious mind, defense mechanisms, character structure, and self. That was all reviewed and described in episodes 1 and 2, as well as the functions of self, which are more of the verb states, the expressions of the structure of self. Self-awareness being the first of those. Defense mechanisms in action. And here, I'd be remiss if I didn't tell myself and everybody else again that defense mechanisms are not always bad. There can be healthy defense mechanisms.
Absolutely.
They can protect us in very valuable ways. And then this notion of salience, what we pay attention to, what sorts of scripts are going on in our head about ourselves and others? What are we paying attention to? How are we interpreting those in our head and to others? And then most importantly, perhaps to ourselves. And then our actual behaviors, like what are we doing from the time we wake up until the time we go to sleep at night? And then our strivings, our sense of hopefulness, or perhaps lack of strivings. And there I am reminded also that nobody does all of these things perfectly all the time. We all have elements within us that perhaps are not serving to geyser up into agency and gratitude as well as they could, but that all of us have the capacity to look at these two pillars and these 10 things that were just listed off, as you describe them, as cupboards that we look into and examine and think about. And that if we can do that with a skilled clinician like yourself or another psychiatrist or psychologist, terrific. But even if we don't have access to that, that we can examine within us what is and is not serving to geyser up into agency and gratitude.
Right. We can bring any issue of self to those two pillars and the 10 cupboards within them. Any issue of self. Why? Because that's what it is, right? In the sense that it is the us, what's inside of me. I have an unconscious mind. I have a conscious mind. I have a defensive structure. I have a character structure. I have a self, right? Like that's what it is, right? And all the functions that you mentioned, they're all going on within that structure of self. They're manifesting themselves. Like that's what it is when we're being, right? In the active way of the verb being, right? That's what it is, which is why we can bring to it any issue of self, even though, of course, there's tremendous complexity there. The million things that go on in a second, underneath the surface in the unconscious mind and our defensive structures and how to see them. But we're human beings. We're complicated, right? Like that's okay because we have methods of understanding, we have methods of inquiry, and we can use those methods to make things better. And that's how we make the geyser as strong as it can be, where like maybe some of the water is running countercurrent in the okay, well, let's try and have things go all in the same direction, but we don't need things to be perfect for the geyser to spring up and the agency and gratitude to then be uplifted upon it.
So everybody has one of these maps, as I understand it. Mm-hmm. And therefore, anytime we're talking about relationships, romantic relationships or otherwise, we're talking about the intersection or overlap of those maps in some way. Maybe even the synergy and the outgrowth of those maps becomes its own map. I think we'll get to this a little bit later.
Yes.
When I and most people hear the word relationships, in particular romantic relationships, I make a couple of automatic assumptions. First of all, I have to assume that people are either in a relationship or out of a relationship. There's probably a third category out there of plurals and other things, but we'll keep it relatively simple. And most people, I assume, when they search for or entered a relationship, they thought about whether or not they had resonance with the person, whether or not, there was a intellectual or mutual interest resonance or a physical resonance, maybe something about family history, common goals, et cetera. That's typically what people think about And then perhaps if people have a bit more of a psychological understanding, or they're reading some, pop psychology books these days, some of which are pretty good, they might understand something about themselves or the other person being a bit more anxious or a bit more relaxed. So you'll hear things like anxious attached, secure attached, things of that sort. If we could just step back from all of that for a moment and examine it through the lens of the maps as you're describing them, which exist in all of us and that really are the maps to being the best version of ourselves. If we look at relationships in terms of lists of, where people went to school, if they went to school, are their parents married or divorced? Do they have trauma that they're aware of or not aware of? These kinds of things. I guess we could call those, and here I'm borrowing language that you used earlier off camera, so I want to acknowledge that. Points of compatibility. Like I think that seems like a reasonable place to start, right? Do people want the same thing? So if you could you talk a little bit about points of compatibility in a relationship and how those show up, for better or for worse, when you encounter people in the clinical setting? When you see somebody who's in a relationship that's really working for them and is healthy, versus if they're in a relationship where it's really unhealthy, presumably there's some knowledge about points of compatibility, but I'm guessing that's not always intuitive, right?
Right. I think the place we start there is acknowledging what we can know and what we can't know, right? So this idea that there are levels of emergence where things at a lower level come together and create something that's new. We see this throughout science, from subatomic particles all the way through to culture, right? So someone could know, theoretically, like lots and lots and lots about you and lots and lots and lots about me, but they don't know about us, right? Like they don't know how we interact. They don't know if we have shared interests, what we talk about, right? They don't know that. No one knows that. Like we don't know that about the combination of people. We can't know it in advance. But we
Okay,
often believe
I am
that
ready
we
to
can,
start the makeup.
which then leads to a lot of false metrics of trying to figure things out. So when we're looking for compatibility, the thought of these very basic, tangible things, like in romance, for example, if there's someone who absolutely wants to have a family, and there's someone who absolutely does not want to have a family, okay, that would be a reason for those two people to not choose one another, right? So there are these factors, but the factors are all in a sense very evident and very concrete, right? If we go beyond that, we say, okay, we can see the obvious, right? Then what we're looking for is really a compatibility of generative drives, right? And then it tells you, can these people then get along? Like, maybe one of them is from one side of the world and the other's from the other side of the world, or one's an accountant and the other is a musician. And, it doesn't mean that, they're built not to get along, or that if they're doing the same thing, they're built to get along, or if they went to college in the same place, or they went to college versus not going to college, right? There's so much there that we try to build a story on, and then what we do is we miss the forest for the trees.
Thanks for the
right?
follow.
And the trees,
Hello.
I think, are the factors that don't matter. So again, let's think about the factors that do matter. Person wants to have a family, other person doesn't. That's relevant. But the trees that mislead us might be, do they have the same level of education? Do they have the same family structure growing up? Are parents still together? What do they enjoy? Are they creative or scientific or whatever, or creatively scientific, right? We could look at all of that, but I think then we're making a bunch of trees that mislead us. If you say, look, do these
Am
people
I Etherean? What does that mean?
The world through how much agency and gratitude is there guiding them? How high is the top of that geyser? How high is it uplifting that? How strong is the generative drive?
Thanks for the follow. I'm playing some RuneScape, watching a podcast, and about to do my makeup. Thank you, Cam, for the finger heart.
There are all the other factors like pheromones, right? And things that we can't understand, or like reflexive first impressions. So like we can let things develop, honoring the truth of what we can't know, that when you put two people together, you get something that's different.
An
than
animal
the
in a past
sum
life.
Of
Ooh.
both people. Right? It's not an overlap of maps, right? It's a new map, right? And the map is informed by things that are on each individual's map. But what we're looking for are maps that don't have very significant
much love. Thank you.
Differences around just clear, concrete things, right? But once we get beyond that, the maps can synergize in all sorts of beautiful and unpredictable ways. And if both are coming from the perspective
Do we
of
do
a
like
generative
purple
drive
or
that is
orange
at the
eyeshadow?
forefront, great, you put those maps together and see what happens.
both.
Maybe nothing happens. Okay, those people don't go out on a second date. You know, maybe something happens, but it doesn't develop in certain ways. Okay, those people dated then stopped dating. Like, this happens all the time, right? But we
Orange?
set the odds in our favor that the generative
Yeah, what
drive
animal
in each
were
that
you,
is
Therian?
at the forefront
What
means that
animal
their
do you
maps can
resonate with?
synergize in ways that can then be beautiful and ways that can maybe bring to both people that which they want. And I think there's a simplicity to that I think if we honor it, it can be very, very helpful, whether it's romance, it's friendships, of looking at what the truth of it is instead of the factors that we try and gain a false sense of security if we're using them to select upon.
You mentioned several times the generative drive. And I definitely would like to learn more about that and spend some time there in the context of relationships. But just to drill a little bit further into what we've all heard so often, and you touched upon a few of these themes, around points of compatibility, but also where sometimes we
Thank
can
you. I love anime.
respond to the wrong
Hi,
things
Kent.
when thinking about
Bye,
compatibility.
enjoy work.
Again, we're framing this mainly in the context of hypothetical
Definitely
romantic
both, Cam.
relationships, but
I'm definitely a good
certainly
mix of both of
it pertains
those
to
with
other sorts of
like a
relationships.
splash of punk
Things
rock.
like, you know, is one person educated?
My
with an advanced
accent
degree, and is
kinda go
is the
burr
other person
sometimes.
Also, you know, we tend to assume that people who are somehow a better match than people who aren't. It's sort of an implicit assumption that's often made, not always. Or that, you know, if two people really love music, that they will enjoy music together, and therefore, you know, the sum of the whole is greater than the parts, you know, and
I think those things are utterly irrelevant.
Interesting, and I want to hear more about this because I think that if you think about, which I'm sure you don't, but like dating apps, for instance, like what's listed out there, or first or second dates, which you know consists of like learning a little bit about somebody and what they're doing, and
I
maybe
do
even a
like
little bit about
anime.
their history
What's your
and-
favorite, Nate?
And
You're in
and
Oregon?
an
Cool. I
activity,
lived in Oregon for a bit.
And certainly an intentional awareness to how the other person is behaving in the context of different things, like, you know, a waiter or a waitress and how they're treating people and you, and then you hear about things like what are the this is not something I'm familiar with, but the love languages. People are like, oh, what's their love languages? You know, it's like gifts or like acts of physical touch, or, you know, or acts of service or something. I met someone recently and she
Thank you
told
for
me
the
my love
rose.
language is all of them.
I lived in like the Portland
You know,
area.
which I think is the most honest answer.
Yu Yu
right?
Hakusho, that's a good
Sure, There's
one.
probably some
That one's
weighting
really
around
nostalgic
what
for me.
people value more or less, and in the
I
absence
live in Colorado
of
now.
the things they value the most, it would probably feel a bit like deprivation in any relationship. But as I'm describing all this, I'm realizing more and more, yes, all of that matters. Anxious, attached, secure, attached, love languages.
Did you say what
etc.
animal, Therian? A
But
fox?
It really
Oh,
doesn't
nice.
get to the heart of the matter.
Near the Rockies?
It really doesn't
I don't
get
like to
this,
disclose any
as you're
further than
describing,
that.
this
Colorado
generative
is
drive
about as specific
in
as I get.
individuals, and whether or not those match up well along the points of compatibility with the
Right.
other person's generative drive. And, you know, I haven't run a controlled study for this, but the best evidence I have is that there fortunately are many people out there who are in happy, healthy relationships, but there are many,
I remind you of
many
Inuyasha?
people
Nice, that's one of my
who are
favorites.
not. Either because they can't find
Rocky
them,
Mountain
or
Native,
they're in them
nice.
and they're not healthy, or they're not happy, etc. So if you could elaborate a bit more on the generative drive, again reminding us what the nature of that is. We covered this a bit in episodes 1 and 2, but
Sounds
what
good.
the nature of that is, and
Thanks for all the likes,
some different
guys. We got
ways
like
that that's
400 of them.
expressed,
Thank you.
and how that
Thanks for hanging out, everyone in
shows
Twitch
up
and Kick and
in
YouTube.
healthy
I appreciate you
relationships.
guys.
Yeah. I think we
Hope
really
you're enjoying the
disprove
podcast.
The idea that some of these factors that I think are superficial in the context of whether people are going to be compatible. They're not superficial things, but they're not germane, right? So let's say you think about music, right? And say two people are contemplating romance, right? And they both really like music. Well, that could go very, very well. Let's say they both have a strong generative drive. Those pillars are pretty healthy.
Might have been
and
you.
the guys are of
Are you a
the
bear?
agency
What kind
and
of bear are
gratitude
you?
is riding upon it, and they can find peace in themselves. They're strongly generative. Then they could become interested in the music the other person likes. There's not going to be a complete overlap, right? Even if people generally like the same thing. But let's say they like different things, like just liking music or even liking the same music, there's still difference, right? So the person has to go beyond themselves, right? And say, okay, I'm interested in like what you think even about the music we both like, right? What factors do you like? There are places of learning and of growth for both. And you could see how both liking music, whether it's the same or different music, that sounds great, right? But you could also see how that could not be.
You're in love with Dragon Ball, nice.
If the generative drive
I have
is
not
too
seen
low
a lot of Dragon
and
Ball.
the aggression drive is too high. Right?
I used to live in
then
Utah by
I'm
the
gonna
mountains.
think,
Now I live 45
music,
minutes south
my
of
music's
Portland. In
better
like
than yours.
Salem area?
People then start, they'll fragment, right? Even though they have the same interest, or if the pleasure
I've
drive
driven
is too
through
high,
Utah.
then
I've
they
never
think,
really
listen to my music, not yours.
done much there.
I'm familiar with it. Instead of, hey, I'm interested in that music because you're interested in it, and I'm interested in you, right? Which leads us to the second part. Let's say you have someone who really has no interest in music and someone who does. Well, there can be an openness of saying, if I'm interested in this person.
There's a really good ramen shop in Salem that I've had. They had some really good veggie ramen.
I have some interest in it, right? I want to learn something about it. I want to experience some of it with the other person. And let's say that person then finds, hey, that's not my thing. It's not the thing we connect on. Then why would that be the end of the world, right? Plenty of people, one person goes to concerts, the other doesn't, right? So, we try and find these points of commonality because I think we get over-reductionist, and then we think, oh, here's a bunch of factors that we will identify, and what they do is they obscure us from the primary factor, which is the generative drive, which of course will then induce open-mindedness, mentalization. If I don't like music and you do, instead of saying, what does he like music for? I need a friendship with somebody who likes music,
nice.
Hey,
Yeah, I
that's
loved
interesting.
going
If I'm
to the
interested
Goodwill
in you as a
bins when
friend
I was
and
in
I have respect
Oregon.
for you and what you think, then why would I not have some interest in what you're interested
Goodwill
in?
pay by the
So
pound.
this idea of compatibility revolves around the health in each person. It doesn't revolve around factors that are anything but the concrete logistical factors that would just keep
What do I do here? Right now I'm doing my makeup
love
and
the
listening
idea that
to
healthy
a
relationships
podcast.
center around the
Oregon misses
factors
me.
that
I
really
miss
matter
Oregon.
within
It's
itself,
so
right? In particular,
fucking
the
pretty
generative
there.
drive.
I'm coming back
And
to
I
visit.
love
I
the
am.
example
It's
of,
so pretty there.
someone being
I
able to
didn't
be
ever really
curious
get to go out to
about
the coast much
somebody's
when I lived there, so I
interests, about their
definitely
partner's
need to do
interests,
that.
and
Hi,
they might not
Eric.
share those from the standpoint of agency and gratitude, because the agency component there is really key. I think that a lot of people feel as if they aren't really.
You wonder
good
what
at something
animal
or
you would
really
be? What do
knowledgeable
you
about
what do you
something,
feel called to, Pinky?
then it's not for them, right? Which is the opposite of having agency and gratitude, because gratitude is closely tied to humility. How could we know everything? It can be good at certain things and not others. So the way you describe it includes aspects of openness, of humility, but also the agency side.
I have
the
been
empowerment.
good. Thank you for
If I'm going to learn
asking.
more, then perhaps
What about you?
we could enjoy more of that together. Perhaps not, right? I think this is what I'm sensing, and I'm also sensing that the words like-minded, like-minded people, has so much more to do with their generative drives and how those match up, as opposed to the activities that they prefer engaging in, and the sorts of foods they like or the movies they like, and which makes sense at some level, but I think it is still counterintuitive.
Like Ken, I just want a beach. Oh, bro, I want a beach too.
They like the same things, or maybe even they met at work because they like the same type of work. They like to live in a certain area of the country, and therefore by proximity they met.
Yo, fuck yeah, Eric. Good to hear.
Interesting ideas,
Good
perhaps,
karma.
about the statistics of what we see, right? Like two musicians together.
You went to school for
therefore see that
radiology?
musicians,
They call you
belong
MRI
together. Or two scientists together. I know loads of
Good joke.
scientist couples or scientist-physician couples, and but of course,
Did
the
you actually,
numbers are
though?
skewed because
That's
they were
cool.
working in environments where it increased the probability they would interact. So this is actually a vote for online dating in some sense, because it
Hi,
breaks
Matt.
through all those
Thank you.
sometimes
How
even
are you?
geographical barriers, but certainly the traditional barriers of culture.
Right. And if you think about,
Thanks for the follow.
we're talking about relationships. So I would like my relationships to last as long as possible, right? That means now we're talking about my lifespan and my health span, right? Like that then becomes part of that discussion. And of course, we're very interested in lifespan and health span. And we see people do much, much better when they're interconnected in the world around them, when they're still learning new things.
Yes, I'm doing
true.
good. Thanks
People
for
often will
asking.
they sort of trail off of what they're learning, whether it's music, it's literature, it's the world around us, relatively early in our lifespan. But the person who's interconnected, learning new things, right, has a much greater probability of living longer and living healthier, right? So what's that about? It's about a generative drive, right? It's about, you know what, I've learned a lot of things over the course of my life, and I'm 80 years old now.
Am I
I'm like,
fainting?
great that there's more to learn, right? And like, that's what
Impression?
you see. It makes me think of
Sorry, what?
a woman who's around 90 years old. In my
Grimes?
practice, she's
What
always
about
learning
Grimes?
new things. Like, she's super interested in things, and I'm always struck about how, like, she seems so much younger, right? And that's not just a selection bias. Like, oh, I just happen to see that in that person.
Doing good.
Like,
How are
she has
you?
the factors that predispose to aging in the
Thank
way
you.
that's healthiest and happiest. So it really comes down to the root of all of it in ourselves, in our relationships.
Thank
in
you.
the quality of them over time.
You're
and
pretty
how
dang
long we
cute
get to
yourself
have
with your
them.
little circle
Like,
there. I see you.
arises from a generative drive, and that's the thing that makes us then undefended, right? And lets us find interest in things about other people that are different from the things in us, which also comes about naturally. Like, I think it's interesting that we have this sort of bias, like, so that musicians belong together. Well, why? They're familiar with the same things, right? I guess they have the same interests. Same thing with scientists. But then, like, a lot of people like different foods, right? Like, I love different types of foods.
Dumpster
Why?
smell
Because it's
is
different,
something else.
right?
Ugh.
It's an appreciation of
Get away
difference.
from
I
that
don't wanna
shit.
eat
Get it
just like
done.
I did growing up, and many people are like that. That's an appreciation of difference, of diversity.
What kind of job
So
do you do, Mr.
sometimes
Brown Guy?
We'll kind of harness that, and we'll look at it, and we'll say, oh, like, that's present in us. But for whatever reason, we become very reductionist about relationships, and now we're trying to match based upon sameness, right? And like, sameness is not the point of it. I mean, there are even thoughts, right, about people that in some way seeking difference, right? And maybe pheromones are telling us that. Like, I actually know very little about that, but I certainly know that striving for sameness doesn't
What's my
make
work?
good things happen in relationships. I've
I
been doing this for over 20
do
years,
like
and
amateur,
I don't see
alternative,
that
spicy
the
modeling
alleged factors of
sometimes.
sameness matter. Again, unless it's so
dropped
concrete.
my
Like, if this person is
I got
absolutely
nervous.
gonna
You
live
made
in
me
North
nervous.
America, and that person's absolutely gonna live in South
I
America,
also
let's not potentially put them together. But
am
once we
a
get away from
amateur
almost
yoga
that
instructor.
level of concreteness, let's look for something different, and then, like,
I'm a
everything
dancer.
else,
I'm
it's simplified.
a singer.
Right, the higher
I'm a
we
video
go
editor.
up the ladder, the more simple things get. If you're
I'm a
looking
video
at the
maker,
pillars, structure of self, function of self, you're creating the agency and gratitude. Then
Photographer,
what are you looking for when you're looking for a
graphic
partner?
designer.
A match in
I have a lot of
generative
work.
drive. I want mine to be
So
strong.
no
and
job,
I see that
Roger.
it's strong in this person.
I
We're
have a lot of. I
creating
just
that. You know,
listed at
I
least
do
10.
science, they grow a garden.
I just listed
We're
like 10
generating
different
together,
things, man.
right? Like, that
I
could
mean,
be
no
super
job.
powerful, because we're looking at the one factor that really matters.
I'd
Thank
like to take a
you.
brief break and acknowledge
Yeah,
one
I
of
also
our
paint
sponsors,
sometimes.
AG1. AG1 is a vitamin mineral probiotic
I'm about to
drink
be
that meets
opening
all
up
of
my
your
art
foundational
store again
nutrition needs.
soon, so
I
you
started
guys can
taking
get
AG1
prints
way
and all
back
that fun
in
stuff.
2012, so I'm delighted that they're sponsoring the podcast.
I'm
The
also
reason I
going to be
started
making
taking
candles
AG1 and the reason I
and
still take
lotions
AG1
and
once
soaps
or generally
and
twice per day
yummy
is that it's the
home
easiest way for me to
things,
ensure that I'm getting all of the vitamins,
snacks
minerals,
and whatnot.
probiotics,
I do
and
make
fiber
music
that I need in my
sometimes.
diet. Now, of course, it's
I do
essential
too
to get
many
proper
things.
nutrition
I should
from
really
whole
hone in
foods.
on one or the
And
other,
most
but
people, including myself, find it
the
hard to get enough
neurodivergency is
servings
like do all
of
the
fruits and
things.
vegetables each day, and especially to get enough prebiotics and probiotics to ensure gut
Portland,
health.
Oregon. What
As you
about
may know,
Portland,
your gut
Oregon,
contains
Craig?
trillions of little microbiota, the so-called gut microbiome. which
Karaoke?
establishes
Ooh, we could do
critical
karaoke
connections
sometime.
with
That would be
other
fun.
organs of your
I
body
do
to
sometimes like
enhance
sing
brain
along to
health,
music on
as
stream.
well as to support your immune system and other aspects that relate to mental and physical health. One of the most common questions I get
Yeah,
is,
that would be
if you were to
fun.
take just one supplement, which supplement
down.
would that be? And my answer is always AG1, because by taking AG1,
Hold on, we got a
I'm
sponsor.
able to
I'm gonna skip it a little.
realizing that most of what I and everyone else has heard about relationships is complete nonsense. I really mean that. I mean, it has occurred to me before, because I've experienced both, that the
Gang, oh my
phrases,
gosh.
absence makes the heart grow fonder,
You and me, baby,
out of sight,
ain't
out of
nothing
mind,
but
are
mammals.
in direct contradiction with one another.
So let's
So
do
they're
it
both
like
true.
they do
Depends
it on the
circumstances and,
Discovery Channel.
who the hell knows to watch it. Right. You also hear opposites attract.
Bye,
but they don't
Jerome.
stay
Thank you so much
together.
for stopping
Right?
by.
You're
Love you. Have a
similar-
great
The
day.
important thing is to find someone similar to you that or that there's like one person, right, that's right for you. I mean, these are, if we really think about it, crazy notions.
Yes.
Honestly,
But they
I
drive
like
a
that.
lot of what
It amazes me
drive
how
about
much people seem
angst.
unaware,
Right, they
even
drive
if
angst,
they're
right.
They
self or are unable to pinpoint why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. I struggle with that sometimes. It also scares me about the things I'm unaware of. Ooh. Have you looked into much Carl Jung, Kellogg? Or also, like, what comes to mind is I've heard Andrew Huberman talk about before, I believe it's in Taroception, it's your ability to kind of like pinpoint what's going on in your internal process. But I definitely love listening to Andrew Huberman. He talks a lot about like neurology and like what's like kind of like what mechanisms are working in the brain when like certain things psychologically happen, and like how music makes us feel and all that fun stuff. But yeah, I definitely love watching this kind of stuff to kind of like understand myself more and where the feelings and all the things come from.
Situations that then create a sense of guilt and shame and inadequacy. Like we mislead ourselves
Chasey
by
Lane.
not
I don't know
going to the basics of what is actually true. Like, I mean,
or is that a song? Oh wait, I think I know that one.
Right, because if I'm healthy,
I'll
recognize a
What's
lack
up, Joker?
of health in the
Got
other.
some candy?
Right? So it also protects us against bad relationships. And then if I'm going to make myself healthy, which we're describing how that looks, wouldn't I want someone who also wants to make themselves healthy, or at least if we're going to ally, right? Let's ally around making both of ourselves healthier.
Absolutely. And we're going to go deeper into how to look into the map of self and how that relates to relationship, certainly more as we go along this discussion. You've mentioned several times, however, about generative drive, and that it really is the definition of like-minded in some sense. And you also mentioned aggressive drives and pleasure drives, themes that we touched on again in episodes 1 and 2, but listening to those episodes is certainly not necessary to digest what we're talking about today. Could you go a little bit deeper into the generative drive, flesh out for us what that is? I think generative, I think generator, I think energy. I hear aggression or aggressive drive, I think, as I think most people do, friction, maybe even conflict, maybe physical conflict, maybe verbal conflict, but I know it's some of that perhaps, but a whole lot more. And then pleasure drive. And pleasure, some people think bliss, some people think delight, some people probably have all sorts of specific things they think of with respect to pleasure. So if you could just flesh those out for us a little bit more, because I think those are going to serve as cornerstones of today's discussion.
Sure. So drives, and in this case the generative drive, sort of exist within us. And what they do is they're defining potential, right? So right now, one could argue if we just pause for a couple seconds, we're not doing anything generative in those seconds, right? But then we resume doing something that we believe is generative, right? So at the time we're pausing, that's when we can sort of look at that as a drive within us to make new learning, right? To understand things we didn't understand before, to spread a sense of goodness, right? So it resides in us in a way that is determined by a whole bunch of different factors. Like everything else that's determined within us, there's a nature and a nurture component. So some aspect of it, or what are the genetics that came down to us? What are formative experiences? But we can go in and alter that. So if we see the drive as a set of potentials, like in that moment we pause, there's a set of potentials within us, like potential of where we can take our thoughts, our actions.
You're
our
in the
reflections,
hospital.
our
No, what
decisions.
happened?
Hey, that's the drive within us. And it exists within us in a way that we could localize now. Like if we think enough about, okay, how much of a generative drive is there in a person? How much is that person looking to make a better life for themselves or a better world around them? And how do they feel about themselves and their ability to do that? How generative are they? Or how shut down or demoralized or envious? So we can, in a sense, localize that.
Paul
and again,
Conti
the
giving me the
localization
truth
has
bumps
these
right now.
genetic and nurture components to it, but we can then go and influence that. And that's the importance. If the drive is a set of potentials, a set of possibilities, then that drive is one and the same, pervaded with however we want to describe that, with the agency and gratitude, because the agency and gratitude is sort of the operative form of that. That's the verb, right? It's the drive actually driving something, right? So if you have a strong generative drive, then agency and gratitude are leading. The decisions, the reflections are coming through that. The aggression within us.
Hey-oh,
again,
thank you, Cam.
That's the historical word. But so we can say aggression, assertion, proactiveness, right? All of this inside of us, and our drive for pleasure, for gratification, right? That all is in us, but it's subserving the generative drive, meaning the generative drive, that set of potentials and possibilities is dominant, which of course makes sense with agency and gratitude, those active verbs being what is most active, right? And then we're also gonna feel at times, and hopefully at a lot of times, right, that sense of peacefulness, that sense of contentment, the sense of delight, right? What you're describing when you're, doing the podcast and you're in it and all these good things are happening to you, right? There's a strong generative drive in you. That set of potentials are being actualized through the verbs of agency and gratitude. Like you're doing it all right then. And as you're doing it, you have a sense of peace and contentment as you're enacting all of it. And then that makes you healthier. It reinforces the generative drive. It protects you against the next sling or arrow of outrageous fortune that will come your way, right? You become more self-knowledgeable, you become stronger, right? And ultimately, that's what we're looking for. Like that's the state of goodness. And I believe that if you look historically, what is it that we're seeking? We can put so many words to it, and we're choosing to put these words to it. I mean, I think that this is the structure, because I think the science, the history, the clinical experience, the phenomenology, I think it all tells us this. We can put different words to it, but what we're looking at when we're looking at truth and how to get to the happiness, quote unquote, that people have sought through the ages, I mean, I think we know enough now. We've learned enough that we can say, oh, this is what it looks like. And it fits the arbiter of all truth, which is as you get further up the hierarchy, it gets simpler. That's true about humans. What's going on in my unconscious is very, very complicated, right? But if that's summing to, as we get higher up, to like, I'm approaching the world with a lot of agency and gratitude, right? That's a lot simpler. And that's what can be common among us, which is why if my pillars are very different from your pillars, and what we've struggled against each is very different, and what we may still have to work against is very different, well, we can be extremely compatible as friends, because are we working on ourselves? Are we fostering the generative drive so we're coming at the world in that way? And agency and gratitude, that's the similarity, right, between us that matters. And ultimately, we're looking at the potential, that every moment we're building the potential in us for what comes at the next moment, which is why we're describing the overlap, the point of commonality that really matters, that matters. We're putting a label to it, right? We're saying it's the generative drive. But it is also that, okay, we both come at the world through agency and gratitude, if two people are assessing compatibility. But if we're looking at something to nest that under, and what seems most logical is the set of potentials within us that we're building and altering each moment. And then as I alter it in this moment, right, it's altered and it affects my next moment, right? If I do something that's just kind of thoughtless to somebody, because I'm in a bad mood, right? Then what am I doing? I'm projecting out my aggression. I'm doing something that basically makes me less than, right? And then I'm going to feel less in the next moment, whether that moment is about me or is about someone else. The drives are the potentials in us, but we are actively working on them, determining them, changing them each moment.
I'm well on board the idea that the typical pairings, let's call them the idiosyncratic pairings of, musician with musician in many cases, but, sometimes very verbal person with quieter person, introvert with extrovert or introvert with introvert, that all of that takes backseat, or it perhaps backseat. Perhaps it even is out of the
Richard,
compared to the
thank you for the sub.
Richard,
thank you so much.
Richard VC just subscribed.
When
Hi,
we think
Cassie
about
laughing face.
generative drives in individuals,
61 months. Thank you,
beautifully
Richard.
describe what a generative drive is and how it shows up in individuals.
What's up?
When thinking about generative drives in romantic relationships, because generative drive can be expressed to varying degrees, does one often see that or do you think that a matching of sort of levels of generative drives is what fosters the best relationships? In other words, let's say somebody has a pretty high pleasure drive, but not a very strong aggressive, also called proactiveness drive. And so maybe like
Doing very good today. Good to
they
hear
watch a
that.
lot of Netflix.
Love that.
Like a lot of Netflix. But they're not even the sort of person that's like really excited about the shows and telling you about them. Because there's a version of watching a lot of Netflix where the person is really interested in learning and in knowing, maybe even
I'm on
about
Twitch
writing,
and
writing
and
something,
YouTube.
you know, poetry or book, or they're bringing some of that to their life, right? I mentioned it that way because watching Netflix isn't bad per se, right? It's not anti-generative.
Is it an escape or is it generative? Is the person thinking about what they're going to do? They're going to write that book, or are they just trying to?
I'm doing
numb
good.
out,
Thank you for
and
asking.
At the end of 5 hours in front of the television, they don't know what those 5 hours were, right? There's no intrinsic value judgment based upon a lot of things that we make intrinsic value. We make value judgments about, right? You have to look at who is the person, what is the context, are they being generative or not?
Yeah, some of the movies and shows that I've watched in relationships became the points of connection around, at least to me, tremendously interesting discussions on hikes that we took the next day and reflections on our own relationship and work and life. And so,
yeah, same name.
I'm so glad that you
Kick
point
is
out that
Catnip,
there's
though.
nothing intrinsically valuable
I got the name just
or
Catnip.
invaluable about something like Netflix, or even intrinsically passive about doing something like sitting around or even reading books for that matter. There's a passive version of reading great books also. People forget that. It's hard to read a great book and not learn something. I guess that's why they're called great books, but there is a version of that. And I know many people...
People want to possess the book. Right. I read the book and I'm going to check it off. I don't know what was in it. Like, people do that. That is not generative.
I don't know what was in it.
Matching of level or expression of generative drives as perhaps what we are all seeking in seeking relationship, like that. And do you think that people tend to pair up, naturally pair up with people that have a similar level of generative drive, or if they don't, do you think it leads to problems?
Right. Yeah, I think that by and large people don't. That it's not the thing that we're thinking about and looking for in ourselves or others, and I absolutely believe that it makes problems. And let's take a look.
To not look. It makes problems to not look.
Right, it makes sense, right? The fact that we're
I'm
not
listening
basing it
to
on
a
generative
podcast
drive
with Andrew
doesn't
Huberman
mean
and
that
Paul Conti.
many, in fact, countless problems.
Please just
And
stop
I
what,
would take as
Chris?
an example, like, think about the idea of a trauma bond, right? A trauma bond is not a bad thing. That sounds like a strong statement because the way that I hear trauma bond used is it's a bad thing, right? But it doesn't have to be. So let's take a look at it. Imagine that you have
he's
what
pretty
people call
cool.
a trauma bond. You know, you have two
I've learned a lot
people
from him.
Who, we'll make up a situation, right? They're functioning in the world around them, but they each have had some very significant trauma that is creating issues in them. So let's say they're avoidance issues. Person doesn't feel safe or comfortable in the world around them.
I'm an
They get invited to
avoidant
places that
fucking
they like to go, but they don't go. Right? They want to go to the museum and see something really new and cool.
Real though, I have disorganized attachment style.
Right? Let's say you have two people who both have this in them. It could be because the trauma is similar. The trauma could be night and day, right? But they each have this in them. They could bond around that trauma in a way that worsens the trauma. That's why people think negatively of a trauma bond, right? So if the case is that the trauma bond is not a good thing for these two people, you say, why is that? It's not because both of them have had trauma and both of them are impacted by trauma and both of them are impacted by trauma in similar ways. It's not that. It's that the drives are not in a healthy place and the gratification of the generative drive and the pleasure drives are not high enough. So let's imagine the generative drive could be relatively low in each of these people, one or the other. Or they could have a naturally high drive.
Yes, Michael.
Right? So there's something that's out of balance. Where the drive is, the ability
So
to
I am
express
listening to
right? Is there enough agency?
Dr. Paul Conti, How to Build and Maintain Healthy Relationships, on the Huberman Lab guest series. So if you look up Andrew Huberman and Paul Conti on YouTube, it should take you to it. It was released a few hours ago. But Andrew Huberman is really great for like a lot of like neuroscience stuff, just like how to live a healthier life kind of thing, like how your brain works. Highly recommend it. Nice, Michael. Yeah, it's like everything affects us. Everything we take into our body, like food-wise or like content-wise, affects us in some way, and we have to be like mindful of that. Can you cash at me if you would like to? My cash app is actually the same name. It's CassieCatnip. I am on X. Yes, same name.
There's not. Like, let's say one person is really, really shut down. That person can't stand their job, right? Okay, something is shutting that person down. The generative drive wishes greater expression. They go back.
Hey, yo, Zachary, I'm sending you all the good vibes and luck towards you manifesting healthy relationships. I believe in you.
But something is out of balance at the time. The pleasure drive may be low.
Right, Michael. Like I definitely struggled with that. Like the friends I was around for a long time. I was actually speaking about this yesterday with a friend of mine who like I had a friend, and they were a friend of mine for a very long time since I was like a teenager. And I would ask them like, hey, do you want to do yoga with me? And I would do yoga, and I was really getting into contortion, and I like do a back bend, and they're like, ew, what the fuck are you doing? And they were like shaming me for it. And like a lot of people are stuck in this like shame paradigm about like anything healthy, which is like bizarre, but sometimes it's just like that. It's like easier to be on autopilot for some people than to like learn about these kinds of things and change the way you're living, which for me it's the opposite. I would much rather, like, I feel like a pain when I'm kind of on autopilot and just like living in ignorance is bliss like mindset, I guess. So I'd much rather like spend my time like learning and kind of devoted to like being a healthier person and cultivating healthier relationships and being more authentic. So I am on that path. If you guys want to be on that path with me, feel free to hang out, follow. I would really love to. I make like a lot of like dance videos and like kind of just whatever TikToks, but I would love to make more TikToks about this kind of stuff. But yeah. The shame spiral is crazy. Yeah, dude. Yeah, definitely. Like, if you don't have the friends in real life, online connections aren't necessarily the same, but I personally accredit, like, a lot of my growth mindset towards, like, following the right people on social media instead of just being stuck in, like, drama loops. Like, I love Andrew Huberman. I think he puts out, like, so much valuable information just for free, which is really great. I personally am not like from like a rich family, so I haven't gone to college. So I value the free resources I have.
Gratified. It may be that person loves museums and wants to go to the
Yeah, we're all mirrors of each other, and you definitely should try to surround yourself with more empowering reflections, because then you can like go back and potentially empower other people later if you just have healthy mentors, I think. Because, like, even those people, like, in the past where I couldn't have, like, a conversation about stuff like that with them, I feel like as we've all gotten older and matured, I'm more able to, like, when I, like, reconnect with people later. But sometimes people just, like, aren't at their place in their life, and they just don't want to, and that's okay. Choose your own adventure, really.
Right? That's a possibility. The aggression or assertion drive would be on the low end, right? But
that does seem to be common, Kellogg.
Safer, right? That drive within them has a lot of latitude in it, and maybe it could move higher, right? But something is
yes, Richard, I believe in that too.
And in their expression.
You would be a lion, Pinky? I see that for you.
Because let's look at the other side.
Yes, we're doing fox time.
Trauma bond is a great thing, right? So each of the people in the example has trauma, and they recognize it in themselves, and they understand how it makes things harder for them.
True.
And then that they're communicating about how it makes it hard in the other, right? So maybe there's a lot of overlap, right, in social avoidance and sense of vulnerability.
I can just see you as a lion, Pinky. I don't know how to explain it.
In one person versus the other. So then they can come together.
What's up, Jay?
What's the goal of life? Like, I would like to be as healthy as I can be. I'm working on myself. You want to be as healthy as you can be. We want to be as healthy as we can be. And if we're healthy, we also help each of us be healthy. So maybe those two people neither of which they would ever go to the museum on their own, because the trauma inside of them is at a point, it hasn't been worked through, or it's at a place where they just simply feel too vulnerable. Right?
It is.
Together, they can go to the museum. And then
It's my most recent
the bond around trauma helps them be healthy. The drives are in a better place because they're able to.
I do, Zachary. I have not been formally diagnosed, but I suspect that I do have BPD and autism. BPD was suspected of me when I was a teenager, and autism my son has and my brother has, and the more like reflection I've done on myself, I really resonate with that also. So whenever I'm in like a state of like I can be very, very empathetic towards other people's emotions. So I can, like, when someone's sad, I can feel that very strongly. And definitely, like, when I'm in a state of, like, fear or, like, frustration or, like, feeling, like, alone, like, sometimes I can be, like, completely immersed in those feelings. I feel my feelings, like, very intensely. I was medicated as a teenager, like on like mood stabilizers, antidepressants, anti-anxiety meds, all the things, and I very much felt like numb. So even though I can feel things very strongly, I much prefer it that way for myself. And it's just like finding the right coping mechanisms and support systems to manage that. I've gone back on medication as an adult. It wasn't really for me. I know that other people, it does help them, but for me personally, I just, I like to try other options. Yeah. How long was your labor? Was it fast? Are you saying for my baby? Wait, what? Aw, thank you, Funny Vids. I am a mama, yeah. But yeah, I definitely relate with that. Emotions are intense. There's this really good song, though. Hold on, I want to play this song, actually. We're going to take a little break from this podcast, and I'm going to play you guys a song. Where is it? Here it is. But for me, definitely, as far as helping with those intense emotions, I really love music, scents, grounding scents, soft things, weighted blankets. Okay, wait, but like what? I was rebellious as a child. They gave me medication, totally made me mind blank. Yeah. I have reservations about giving kids certain kinds of medications. I feel like you should be old enough to express how the medication is making you feel. And be listened to. So I actually had a C-section for my baby.
What does it mean?
And it was like...
It means to have such inner knowing that
okay.
your thoughts create your world, to simply be
a few hours.
certain, with divine nonchalance and inner knowing, that if you think of something, it is. Emotion is the key to all of this. As human beings, you need emotion to connect you with your spiritual self. Because emotion generates feeling. You need emotions to comprehend the non-physical, which is why emotions have been so controlled upon this planet. Most human beings are afraid of their emotional or feeling center. They are afraid to feel. Trust your feelings no matter what they are. When you are not afraid of feeling, and you move past judgment, and allow yourself to feel all the ways you feel, you will have a tremendous breakthrough. You must learn to love your emotions.
What do you do for work, Cam? What kind of clients do you have? Ooh, I will. Next. Zachary, aw. This song is called Ace of Cups by Ellis Stream. Aw. Everything's gonna be okay.
We speak to you as if you are not human, because to us, you are not. To us, you are members of the family of light.
Yay. Okay, I'm looking up Don't Hold Your Breath by Wookie Foot for Michael. Yay, I'm glad you liked it too, Richard. Wookie Foot doesn't even have a profile picture on YouTube. They're funny. I have been playing RuneScape since I was 7 years old, and I got fast fingers, man. What's up, Robot Krampus? I don't think I've heard this one. Thanks for sharing. I've heard Wookie Flip before, but not this one. Nice.
How in the world does it change? How in the world does it change? The answer always seems to be the same. The answer always seems to be the same.
Nice. Algorithm does good sometimes. I've found some pretty good music through the algorithm at times. Ooh, I'll play this one for you next that I found through the algorithm that I really liked. Wait, what did you say you do for work, Cam? It didn't show up.
How in the world does it change? How in the world does it change? The answer always seems to be the same. The answer always seems to be the same. Don't hold your breath.
Thank you! The mushroom tapestry was a gift. I believe someone got it on Amazon for me. And then the painting right there is one that I am in progress on, actually. It's for my mama. I look bonita, thank you! Hi, Sergio. Did I get that one? No, for whatever reason, it's bleeping it out. I don't know what you do for work, Cam, but TikTok does not want me to know. The girl under the rainbow, thank you for the roses, love. Thank you so much. How do I feel about Sleep Token? Ooh, I think I've heard them before. I think they're chill. Okay, let me find this other song that I wanted to show. Is this it? Yes. This is it. This one's kind of long. Yeah, thank you. I definitely guess that's... I think that's my art style, is like surrealism. How long have I been cosplaying? Since like... I don't know, I've done costumes like for Halloween since I was a kid. I always loved that, but my first like cosplay of a character was 2016? Oh. Wait, so you're a sex what? What about earth plant medicine? So wait, but a sex what? I love kitsune stuff. Yes. Yes, Michael. I did not. I got these on Etsy. I appreciate you too, Pinky. Holiday. Oh yeah. I have a bunch of plant medicine stickers on my computer and like over here too. Oh, okay. I see. Cool, Cam. That's hard work, but it's definitely needed. Good for you. I was almost a social worker. That's what I wanted to do when I was 18, but I had a bunch of stuff happen to me, so I just didn't go down that path. But I live stream and I can connect people with resources online, so I love that. It's kind of like that. It's social work. Streaming is social work. Holiday. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I believe that too, Cam. And I believe people have a huge capacity to grow and change. And a lot of people, like, we have so much generational trauma. It's like a lot of people really wrong place, wrong time, wrong upbringing. Like, it's really sad. A lot of lives people have, and yeah, we need community to pull each other out of that. Money, money. Thank you, Iconic. Yo, fuck yeah, your girlfriend sounds cool. Yes, I actually want to go for similar. Like how, I want to figure out how plant medicine interacts with the brain. So like neuroscience and plant medicine is what I would focus on. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, there's like a difference. But I also at the same time that believe that like people who do intentionally enact harm upon others, that the current prison system isn't meant to rehabilitate. If anything, the current prison system, depending on where you're at, can kind of reinforce these same like toxic social paradigms. So I believe in prison reform. I do believe some people who are dangerous should be kept away from society, but in a much different way than we're currently seeing, if that makes sense.
I nip, mind, in, I rev, big, sell, I change, man, words, I be, I own,
What's that, Pinky? I feel that. I used to feel that, Pinky, a lot. The words you speak, refuse to be present.
I make own decision. I be live life, mind control intent. I seek revelate, make life celebrate. I be change, seek manifest, words speak. I fuse, be present. I make own decision. I be live life, mind control intent. I seek revelate, make life celebrate. I be change, seek manifest, words speak. I fuse, be present. I make own decision. I will be manipulated, mind control and intent. That I will seek the revelation, make my life a celebration. I will be the change I'm seeking,
manifest the words I'm speaking.
I refuse
of course.
to be imprisoned. I will make my own decision. I will be
Oh no, I've heard that a lot from people, Michael.
that I will seek the revelation.
That's awful. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Celebration. I will be the change I'm seeking,
That's the words I'm speaking.
I refuse to be.
I also had a horrible reaction to it. Ginseng every day, nice. Manifest the words I speak. Oh my god, I love that, Richard. That's such a great emote. Welcome back, Therian. Manifest the words I speak. Holiday gonna slip away. Babylon manipulation, yeah. Severe histamine intolerance. Interesting. Sorry to hear that. Oh. Nice. Yeah, the whole pandemic was a huge like deepening and awakening for like me taking care of my health as well, like very much looking into things that could like naturally boost the immune system. I learned from Paul Stamets that you know, reishi, lion's mane, medicinal mushrooms are supposed to boost the immune system and help fight the cytokine storm that COVID causes. So yeah, I definitely started getting a lot into that. Oof. So sorry to hear that, Cam. Take back the power. Take back the knowledge. Yeah. Take back the power.
Take back what they have stolen from us. We got to take back the knowledge. We got to take back the power, Lord. Until I leave it deep in us above. We got to take back the knowledge. Or take back the power. Humanity, don't let this be our final hour. Take back the knowledge. Or take back the power. Humanity, don't let this be our final hour.
Take back the knowledge, take back the power. Take back the knowledge, take back the power. The final hour, take back the knowledge, take back the power. Thank you for the rose, Cam. This is Mike Love. Mike Love, Permanent Holiday. Nice, Richard. Yeah, I haven't had the coffee in a while. It's been a minute for me. Do I prefer chatting with people on TikTok or YouTube more? Personally, I have no preference, but I am trying to get monetized on YouTube, but also on TikTok. I'm just trying to grind everything right now to get more passive income. And on TikTok, I believe the requirements to cash out is like 10,000 followers. And then on YouTube, I need to get like some thousand watch hours, like 4,000 watch hours or something. And I think 1,000 subscribers, something like that. Sir Sly, hi, got it. What's up, Baba Black Sheep? Just foxifying ourselves in here. But yeah, I don't have much of a preference for where you guys chat. I guess YouTube, like the watch time helps, and yeah, so that it would help if you guys have my YouTube stream open, if you're able to. Kellogg said, I feel like it's hard to find people to talk about stuff that's hard to conceptualize, like emotions. Yeah, a lot of people don't seem to have the patience or the time for it, which also, a lot of people are really stressed out, so I kind of don't blame them, depending on where they're at. But yeah, it's always nice to find people who do have space for that, or, you know, therapist or whatever that is for you. Okay, sounds good. If you're able to message me, Michael, if you message me it, I'll be less likely to forget. Yeah, it depends on the metal, Richard. It has to be like more of a melodic metal. Like I like a little bit of like hard stuff, but not like full hard. Like I think like Nightwish is like kind of like considered metal. It's like it's almost like opera, gothic kind of metal. Like I like stuff like that still. But also like heavy dubstep. Like when really heavy dubstep comes on, I'm like, okay, this is kind of intense for me right now. What state am I from? I'm originally from Minnesota. Right now I live in Colorado. Yellow, yes, but I'm not allowed. I have to be good. I have to be a good noodle. Can't chat on TT right now. Oh my gosh. Nice. Where are you guys at right now, Michael? Colorado's pretty dope. I'm like considering though, I don't know if I want to buy land someday in Colorado, or if I want to do it in like the Pacific Northwest or in NorCal, or I'm not sure yet. Do I like to react? To read? I do like to read. I wish I had more time to read. I've actually thought about doing some like book club streams on here and on Twitch and stuff. Because I do want to read more. You've been battling mold? No, you're in Michigan? Yeah, I had mold for a bit when I was in Oregon, and that's like the worst, dude. I'm so sorry. I've had mold a few times in my life. It's not fun. Like, I like stuff like this, Richard. Which this is like, I think this is dubstep, it's Skrillex. But it's more just like vibey, like bumping music, not like super like Yeah, dude, Cam, my rental was straight up from the 80s. And like I was so happy to have like a low-key landlord who was like really chill until like we found out we had black mold. And then I was like, fuck. Because it was like in the walls, and like the walls under the sink were like caving in, kinda. I was just covered in mold. It was not good. Yeah, this is nice. Yeah, dude, I was like, and it was like an old townhouse that wasn't off the ground or anything. Like the foundation was like in ground. And so like every time it would rain, and it was Oregon, so it would rain a lot, it would like seep into the ground. And the house was in ground, so it was like not good. Not good. And there was like very little airflow, and the windows were like single paned, and they would like leak. So water would come into like the windowsills too. So yeah, just all around not ideal. If you were chased by a pack of lions, no weapons or anything, what would you do? Roll around on my back and put my legs and my hands up in the air and do puppy dog face. Like, please. Please, no! I would beg. If you ask me about like most like life or death situations like that, my first instinct is to plead. Pleading emoji, please no. And if that doesn't work, I can kick really, really hard and really high. But like, I don't want it to get to that point. I don't want to get eaten. Okay, no, here's, I got treats in my pocket. I pull out the treats that I have in my pocket because I always keep that thing on me. And I offer them snacks and belly rubs. On the island? Which island, Michael? I love Grimes too. Okay, Corpse. I do like some Corpse. Corpse is a little bit more heavy.
There's a mosh pit, think I might have lost it. Starting to believe there's only one way I can stop it. If pain is beauty, I'm a guillotine.
It's crazy seeing like Corpse like do stuff with Bring Me the Horizon. You almost lost your life? No, I'm sorry, Nova. What happened? Also, my phone's at 5% TikTok. I'm gonna need to hop off TikTok in a sec, but I am live on Twitch, YouTube, and Kick. My phone's at 5%, so I'm gonna have to end the live and plug it in. But thank you so much, everyone on TikTok who's been hanging out with me. I will be back on TikTok in a bit. I'm almost done with my makeup. We're close. I'm gonna do the stripies on my face, I think. But yeah, I'll be back, guys. Bye. Okay, you guys got me all to yourself. Hello. I love the way it's animated too. I think that's really cool. Okay, I actually have to pee real quick. I'll be right back, guys.
Nothing amazing happens here. Everything is ordinary.
In a few weeks, I will get time to realize it's right before my eyes, and I can take it if it's what I want to do. I am leaving, and this is starting to feel like it's right before my eyes, and I can taste it. It's my sweet beginning. I can tell just what you want. You don't want to be alone. You don't want to be alone. I can't say it's what
Yes, it is so nice. It takes a while to recover and get it out of your system, but I'm definitely feeling like tons better.